Hi, today I have Patty Campson. Welcome to the other side. And Patty, you know I've been working on this project for a long time. So part of the other side is always seeing things from a different perspective, whether we talk to psychic medium healers, astrologers. It's about seeing the light at the end of the tunnel for people, how the planets are aligning. Some people, really get readings weekly, monthly, they count on this. So tell me about you and what you've been up to, and then we'll get into what I wanted to talk about because it's so relevant is we're in Mercury Retrograde starting today, right? And you had said on your podcast that what's happening now has happened in other occasions in the world where turmoil was happening. So we'll get to that. But first, tell us about you and how you started this and your journey with astrology.
So I've been doing astrology for about 20 years now. It started because I've always been intuitive, and I have a little skeptic in me. So I would get these intuitive psychic hits, but it's like, okay, where is that coming from? How can I prove it? And then astrology was just a tangible way to really see things and match it up with the intuitive hits that I was getting. And I was just like a duck to water with astrology. It just seeped into every cell in my body, and I loved it. It helped me raise my children because I used it as a tool to figure out, like, who are these little beings walking around my house? They're driving me mad. They didn't come with a playbook, but with astrology, it was like, oh, that's why you do that. Okay, let me embrace that and fertilize it so you can be the best at that. And I had to grow to be able to learn how to help them be the best person, and whatever they were good at and I wasn't, I was able to learn it and then help them, support them to be the best that they could be at that gift that they naturally had. So astrology has been amazing.
So when did you start all this? So you started getting intuitive feedback in your dreams and just like, it just came to you. How did you know?
So I came from a very eclectic family. My mom and dad were total opposites. My dad was a hippie, health food, vegetarian, pot smoking guy. And my mom had never done drugs, didn't drink coffee, never did alcohol. She was a radical during the 60s and 70s and was like Angela Davis and wanted to be with the Black Panthers and doing all that stuff. So they were very eccentric people and were open. I kind of raised myself. Um, they went through a lot of relationships. My mom was married 4 times, my dad 3 times. So there was just a lot going on. So I had to rely on my own self and spirit to kind of navigate my way through it. And I was just always intuitive. And then I got married, and it was very traumatic because he was a challenging soul. Um, and then he went through a really bad time, and it was like a crack. He actually got arrested. And that was in 1997. And it cracked me open. So it was like, okay, I have to really accept my gifts. And he never did, because I was very intuitive and I would know things about him which he didn't want me to know, and he would shut me down. He was from Nigeria. So he goes, oh, that's juju, that's no good, that's no good. So then after he got arrested and all these other things happened, it was like I came alive. So from 1997, that's when I went back on my spiritual journey and just opened up, and here I am.
Beautiful. And usually I do hear that a lot from other healers, shamans, psychics, mediums, that something real traumatic happens in their life and then it brings forth the gift.
Yes.
Which, by the way, we started that TV show, what, 10 years ago, called The Gift.
Yes.
You know what? Maybe it's timing now. You know, life's about timing. We should rehab
Always.
it, Patty. So, anyway, so I wanted to get into what's happening now. Obviously, it's the topic of everyone's conversation. It's actually hard to talk about anything else these days. It's either about COVID or the riots. I mean, protests, riots, slash what's going on. So with astrology, how can you help us understand what we're going through? What is there a light at the end of the tunnel, which I'm sure there is. We're always going to spin this in a positive way because we have to, and it's going to be positive, but shed some light on us. Tell us the story about the history of, you know, when 9/11 and where the planets were aligned to now. A lot of tragic stuff in America.
So, I mean, there's so many areas to start, but let's just start with the cycles. So right now, there are so many cycles coming together, so many levels coming together right here, right now. It starts at the top, where it's a 2,000 plus year cycle. We're moving from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. Then we have a Pluto return cycle, which is a 250-year cycle that we're going through right now. So that's two cycles that are converging. Then we have this 30-year cycle with Saturn that is happening right now, three cycles converging. Then we have Venus in an 8-year cycle completing, merging right now. And then we have this eclipse cycle that is ending, but it's a continuous cycle, but it's ending. This cycle started in 2017, but the original cycle that it keeps triggering and touching started, gosh, in, I think the first one was in 876, something like that.
Let me ask you a question. You mentioned a few cycles. Is there any time in our lives when all these cycles were happening together? No. So this is an unusual thing for all these cycles to be happening. Can you explain each one and what they mean and their significance so we can understand the impact that's happening?
So, you know, moving from Pisces, the age of Pisces, which was a more of a, there's so many levels of Pisces. There's the energy of unconditional love and compassion, and then there's the energy of addiction and lies and deceit and drugs and alcohol, slavery, all that kind of stuff. So that was kind of the world's experience in a big picture. You know, we were just trying to survive and come to a civilization. Now we're coming into Aquarius, where it's really not the haves and have-nots. It's about how can we all just get along and make it good for everybody. Like, who was the guy from 1992 that's the LA riots?
Rodney King.
Yes, Rodney King. Can't we just all get along? That's kind of the Aquarian energy. Aquarius is radical and revolutionary, but the intent is for everybody to get along and be supportive and be communal, and have a high spiritual outlook. Then we have this Pluto, which the last time it was in Capricorn was in the 1700s during the Revolutionary War and when the United States became a country. And so when you think about that, Pluto is about destroying and leveling out the field to clean it up, to be able to have a foundation fresh and new to build upon. So when you think back to 250 years ago, you think back that there was war. It was about freedom of religion, and then my brain just stopped. But it was about freedom of religion and taxes. So that created all the strife and resentment and war between British and the new America.
Mm.
So then we created this new America based on a lot of things that may have not been the best for all people, but that was the intention. So now we live 250 years and there's a lot of stuff that's gone on. Pluto has come full circle, and it's like, okay, the structure, there are things that are happening that are not correct. It needs to be destroyed and rebuilt again. That sounds um, harsh, but it's just one of the cycles in life. And then we have Saturn doing its 30-year cycle. The last time it was in Aquarius was in 1992, which was around the Rodney King and the LA riots. Um, Again, Aquarius is about revolution. It's about waking up to what is not working in our society. Saturn is about the structure. It's about the hard work. It's about creating discipline. So all these cycles are converging, including the eclipse, which is at what we call a world point. So being a world point means that the globe responds to it, not just the United States. And to kind of bring that home, this eclipse is a family eclipse that harkens back to D-Day. And D-Day was World War II. And that's when Britain and France and we ganged up on, not ganged up, but we were allies to destroy Germany. And so that eclipse, this family of eclipses were happening then. And then the next one, they're about every 19 to 20 years. So then there was civil rights in 63, 64 when Kennedy was assassinated. Huge. It was on a world point. And then in 92, when the Rodney King and LA and all of that, it affected the world. It wasn't just the United States. And then 2001, a world point, it affected the world. And now we're here.
And what about it with the economy? Does that have anything to do with planetary alignment or just government? And what do you, because 9/11 and then 2008, we had a crash. Like, does that, because right now, this is like a really scary point. People are losing jobs. People don't have money. Things are closed down from COVID. When are we going to see this cycle like have some relief so people could get back to some normality? And does any of this have to do with what's going on with the virus at all? Just curious. Just a question.
So, there's a lot of different ways to look at this. So from my point of view, when the virus hit, it was shocking. It was like, what? How does this happen? But it was kind of it was a way to get our attention, because the whole world had to stop to be able to really see with our eyes and not turn away the underbelly of our world. It's like it's been steadily just kind of being picked apart. People do not feel comfortable right now. Things do not feel safe. And so I think all these things are symptoms. So like racism, healthcare, people not having what they need. The core is money. Mm-hmm. It all falls back to money. If everybody had what they needed financially, there wouldn't be this, there would probably be I'm better than you because of something. But people would have what they need. They would have healthcare, they would have shelter, they would have food. And when you don't have these things, then we as humans start to find things to distract us. That could be drugs, that could be alcohol, sex, anger, disruption, all of that then starts to bubble up. So it's really about money
Yeah.
that's at the core. But, slavery happened because they were trying to get work for free. It
Well,
was about money.
there's a lot of greed in this world. So let me ask you a question, because a lot of people are wondering about this. And I won't hold you to anything, but I know you're very intuitive. There's an election coming up.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Trump supporters, there's Trump haters. We better vote, vote, vote. We got to vote Democrat because all this is a mess happening under Donald Trump's presidency. Without, you feel what's comfortable with you and saying what's happening. But have you ever done a reading on Donald Trump, like by yourself? Like, okay, so good. Talk about that. Good, bad, or indifferent. It's astrology, so you didn't arrange the planets for him. So don't worry, we're not going to hold you to anything that you personally. Tell us about this.
Donald Trump is a Gemini, and he's a Leo rising, so there's a big ego involved. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is the planet of how you think, how you process, how you communicate. Neptune in a chart can represent illusion, lies, deceit, but it's also about compassion and unconditional love. In his chart, he has the ruler of his sun sign in a challenging aspect to Neptune. So usually when you see that in anybody's chart, you go, this person has an issue with telling the truth. And we see that, or at least I see that playing out in what we've been experiencing. So these eclipses that started on June 5th, so the ones that are coming up on June 20th and July 4th are the ending of the Capricorn Cancer eclipses. But then we started a new family of eclipses on June 5th, which will be in Gemini and Sagittarius. So anytime you have eclipses that connect with a strong aspect in your chart, which for Donald Trump, it's his sun sign, huge things shift, change, and open up for the unexpected. Eclipses are about karma and life-altering changes in one's life. So, and then we have this other aspect of Saturn. So for Donald Trump, will he win in November? Mm-hmm. I don't have the answer. I have to say, since all of this has happened, looking ahead, it's like I'm not being shown anything too far ahead. It's like it just drops off into a deep, dark cavern. And one of the reasons is because we co-create with the universe. And I feel like there is so much swirl, and we are in the midst of co-creating, and we are literally, this world is on the galactic center of our galaxy, which is a vortex. And it's like there is so much fertile energy to really change our experience moving forward. We as light workers really need to come together to really solidify positive, high vibration energy to move forward and create whatever we're trying to visualize in the next at least 2 years. Because Pluto will be direct with the United States Pluto in June of 2022. So we have 2 years. Hopefully it's not going to be this intense for the next 2 years, but we have 2 years to get it together. At least have some kind of structure of where we're moving to, because right now it's just chaos.
So getting back to the Donald Trump thing, it kind of sounded like it could go 50-50 either way. It's like, well, karmic things could happen to him, meaning karmic in a good way, like all of what he's says that he's trying to do is coming to fruition, and maybe there'll be light at the end of the tunnel where people acknowledge it, or it's going to be, yeah, you're a big liar and your karma caught up with you and you're out. So it's like, it's, yeah, which way is it going to go, Patty? Come on, dig deeper.
The interesting thing is that, so we're having an eclipse on the 20th, and then the planet Neptune is going to move backwards. It's going to go retrograde. So right now we have 5 planets retrograde. So all their energy, we're not seeing all that we need to see. There's things that will not be revealed until these planets start moving forward. And guess what? That's going to be in September and November.
Wow. So that's when we're going to start between him and Biden. So this is interesting because with everything going on, so I was going to ask you this, because this is what the other side is. There's so much divide. There's conspiracy theory people that think, oh my God, it's Gates, it's this, it's 5G, and there's all this deep state talk. And then it's like, no, it's all Trump and his collusions with Russia and blah, 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 and his lies and his deceit. And then the Republicans are throwing, Obama's under the bus and Clinton's under the bus, and they're all getting, indicted and sought out. So what truth is going to happen? Truth that that's lies, or truth that, oh, wow, we didn't know that? It's a tough one.
So my thing
will tell, but I'm just asking you if there's anything you know.
It's very interesting with the energy that we're moving into. Really, anything is possible, and it may not be Biden or Trump at the end of the day. Some person new can emerge. The possibility truly is there.
Well, that means someone gets assassinated if someone else is stepping in. I hope that doesn't happen. I really hope.
I'm not putting that out there because
no. I hope that doesn't happen, but
the thing is that this eclipse on the 20th, on Saturday, it's an interruption because it's a new moon. Everything goes black. There's going to be a ring of fire that people are talking about. A new moon is about the moon, the sun and the moon take away the light. So there is an interruption for a couple of minutes. In that interruption, the vibration can totally shift when it opens up again and sheds its light. There's a lot of aspects going on with this eclipse, and one of them is the planet Saturn. So with Saturn kind of in the mix, there needs to be an adjustment. There needs to be a real conscious fix. And that may happen because Mars is going to be activated between June 25th and June 30th. It's going to activate that eclipse. But there is a caveat because there are so many planets retrograde, it may be delayed. But in July, I just feel like in July, there's going to be something that happens that changes everything that we know, just like 9/11. Not that I'm not saying there's.
Yeah, no, I get it. I understand what you're saying.
That type of energy is primed to happen right now.
Wow. Okay, well, that's in the world news. How about for us regular folks? What should we expect in this retrograde, all these things, these layers of...
I know. Mercury retrograde, so it's in Cancer. So people, it's about safety, it's about home, it's about family. So that's where you want to go back to and make sure that you're reconnecting with your family and your comfort. And with, all these things happening, it's it's really a time for people to reassess who they really are and who they want to be moving forward in this new world. People have been put in a lane of, I have to do this, expectations. This is what my family wanted me to do. This is what I thought I was supposed to do to make sure that I look good in the world. But they weren't living their purpose or they're doing their soul's work. With the world stopping and reassessing, you can do that personally for yourself and say, oh my gosh, everything's finally stopped. I can breathe. And it's like, I don't even know what to do with myself because I've been so used to just being in that rat race. But now it's like, oh, who am I? I can start drawing again. That's what I really do. A lot, I've had many clients, their lives have totally shifted in all this chaos, which is so amazing and inspiring to me personally. I've had one client who sold their house during all of this and is moving to the East Coast to have a nice, peaceful life.
I hope not in New York.
No, not in New York.
Right there. Okay. Because I have my family's in New York. I don't know. I was supposed to visit them. I'm holding off on that. But the East Coast, like southern,
The East Coast, like northern,
oh, like Maine.
like New England, yes.
And, okay, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Have you ever been there? It's lovely there.
Yes. So there are things happening for people that they think that, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And then it turns into a huge blessing. It's like, okay, the world looks like it's falling apart. But for me personally, I am now able to be who I am supposed to be. I've been given room and space to really create the person that I've always wanted to be. So that's the blessing.
This is the good news. See, I always like to talk to you because there's light at the end of the tunnel when I speak to you. There's always a positive that comes out of, I mean, what looks like darkness in the world and where we live. So thank you, Patty. I'm going to visit with you again, and the other side's going to come bring you on because you're a delight to have, and you're so intuitive, and you've been helpful to me over the last decade with my astrology reading. So thank you so much. Thank you for what you do. And we'll stay tuned for Patty. You can look her up. What's your Instagram handle again?
I'm at Patty K_Astro.
Right. So follow her on Instagram too. She's amazing. She has great readings. Okay. Thanks, Patty. Bye.